People often wonder about the origin of suffering and how they can free themselves from it. However, to truly understand suffering, one must first understand oneself. True wisdom does not arise from looking outward, but from looking within, as suffering is an illusion that manifests when we stray from our essence. In seeking answers to doubt and uncertainty, the focus should be on understanding who truly suffers. When we look at the world with a closed heart, it is the ego that reacts, suffers, and clings to pain. But the true self, the one beyond the ego, remains in harmony and peace, regardless of external circumstances. Suffering, therefore, is a condition of the mind that believes in divisions and roots itself in the illusion of separation. Confucius, the great master of harmony and wisdom, left us profound teachings on achieving inner peace and living in balance with the world. Though his focus was on principles like self-control, respect, and education, his teachings also apply to understanding suffering and the search for the true self. For Confucius, suffering is not an obstacle but an impetus that leads to self-knowledge and spiritual growth. He believed that true happiness arises when we realize that the cause of our dissatisfaction lies within us. This text, therefore, explores the answers Confucius might offer to those seeking to understand suffering, integrating his teachings on virtue and unity as a path to overcoming the illusions of the ego and discovering inner peace. If you've ever wondered how to live with more harmony and inner peace, stay with me until the end of this video. Together, let's explore Confucius' teachings and how they can transform the way we deal with suffering. And if you enjoy this type of content, take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel and learn more about Eastern philosophies. Just like the waters of a river flowing to the sea, the true self seeks to connect to its source, where there is no suffering, only serenity. The dissatisfaction that drives us, though painful, can serve as a guide toward awakening. Paradoxically, suffering is the impetus that leads to spiritual growth, as it awakens us to the desire to seek something beyond the illusions of the world. In a sincere search for peace, we understand that the desire for happiness arises as an innate impulse, a reminder of the state of unity. Without this restlessness, there would be no desire to seek something greater, no desire to attain true happiness. How could one seek harmony and wisdom without first questioning what is unsatisfactory? When we look at universal suffering, such as hunger and disease, it may seem like an overwhelming burden, a problem demanding immediate solutions. But the root of all evils lies in the perception of separation. By seeing the world as something external and different from ourselves, an inner struggle arises, and suffering then seems real and insurmountable. Confucius teaches us that if we turn our gaze inward and seek to understand the reality of our own nature, suffering will begin to dissolve. What appears external is nothing more than a reflection of what we carry within us, a projection of our fears, insecurities, and attachments. The true service to the world is not in the frantic attempt to fix it externally, but in cultivating inner peace and harmony. The wise understand this and silently influence the world by being examples of harmony, peace, and wisdom. Instead of focusing on grand actions or speeches, the wise live in harmony with their essence and radiate that peace around them. External problems, when seen through the lens of true wisdom, reveal themselves as illusory, for our essential nature is pure harmony and bliss. All suffering arises from the false identification with the body and the ego, and this illusion makes us believe that something outside of us needs to be fixed. When we forget who we truly are, we lose our peace and allow suffering to affect us. Ultimately, the cause of unhappiness lies not in external circumstances, but in the ego's attachment to illusions. Confucius teaches us that those who truly seek peace must first seek to know themselves, letting go of the false idea that we are merely body and mind. The mind is a valuable instrument, but if we cling to it and its thoughts, we become lost in the maze of illusions. Those who seek inner peace must learn to master the mind, recognizing that suffering does not come from the world but from identification with the ego and its interpretations. As long as the world is seen as something external and separate, Suffering persists because we project our internal pains and frustrations onto it. But by recognizing the world as a manifestation of unity, the Tao, or the greater self, we realize there is no real division, only a mistaken perception. When we accept our true nature, good and evil, pleasure and pain become relative and lose their power over us. Thus, we find true wisdom, returning to our essence and living in harmony with the universal flow, with a calm mind and an open heart. Confucius's teachings show us that by achieving inner peace, we can transform the way we interact with the world. By seeing life experiences as opportunities for learning, we can understand that difficulties and challenges are like winds that strengthen the tree. True peace is not a condition free of difficulties, but the ability to remain balanced and serene regardless of external circumstances. However, the ego will always seek explanations and justifications for suffering, projecting its cause onto external factors and assigning blame. When the mind identifies with the ego, it resists the idea that suffering can be dissolved through self-inquiry and understanding our true nature. Yet Confucius reminds us that peace is only achieved when we overcome identification with the limited self and recognize suffering as an illusion. This realization allows us to experience life with a sense of lightness, understanding that the true self is unaffected by external circumstances. The world and its problems are like reflections in a lake. They exist, but they are neither permanent nor real in their essence. In essence, Confucius's teaching invites us to look within and question the roots of our own thoughts and perceptions. From this perspective, happiness and peace cease to be states dependent on external circumstances and become manifestations of our own nature. Living according to Confucius's philosophy means abandoning identification with the ego and recognizing that we are part of a whole. This practice enables us to live more fully, as we are no longer affected by the ups and downs of the world, but instead remain connected to our center of serenity. By following the path of wisdom, we discover that all our happiness and bliss are already within us, just waiting to be awakened. Suffering dissolves when we stop looking outward and turn inward, where the true self dwells. It is this return to the self that Confucius and other sages taught. Only when we abandon illusions and root ourselves in the true self do we find lasting peace. It is in this inner silence that true harmony resides, beyond all appearances and illusions. Furthermore, I invite you to watch this video where Confucius will guide you on how to live a lighter life in the face of adversity. So, how about reflecting on how to apply these principles in your daily life? If this video gave you a new perspective, like and share it so more people can access these teachings. And, of course, subscribe to the channel to continue this journey of wisdom and self-knowledge. I invite you to watch this video where Confucius will guide you on how to live a lighter life in the face of adversity.